proudest day, and the proudest time, and the seat of a rally car, because that day, and that hour, and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all we said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Crunching Gears, the Rally Podcast, Season 3, Episode 5. Connor, we've finally got a rally coming up this weekend. We've been talking a lot already, but we're finally going to see some action on the stages.
Hallelujah. It seems like a long time.
Yeah. Great to see World Championship back and, traditional starting place, and where better than Monte Carlo this weekend.
Yeah, just one disappointment. Weather's not in our favour. Looks like it's going to be dry.
Yeah, I just thought it was going to be another dry tarmac rally, and that was the
Yeah.
whole idea of moving it back to Gap, was there going to be a good chance of snow.
Yeah, I think there'd been high hopes that, once they got up into the mountains around Gap,
Mhm.
but just doesn't seem to be the case. There's been a bit of snow, but nothing much. So it just means, by the looks of things, it might just be a bit of heavy frost, maybe a bit of ice, but
Mhm.
on the whole, it's looking like the stages are going to be dry, which the other problem that brings us is pollution on the roads. It's going to be mud and stones everywhere.
Yeah, because I was even seeing a wee video there from Shakedown there. We're talking now, it's Wednesday evening, and the Shakedown, and the amount of gravel, and even just after each car goes through, the cuts these guys make is just something else.
Yeah, it is. And again, because I suppose the rally was based on the fact that it probably would be snowy, they don't have the same anti-cuts that we've seen
Yeah.
throughout the most of last year. So there will be deep cuts where possible.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, I suppose we should say in this episode here we catch up with Paul Murphy, who is one of the engineers in the Toyota Gazoo World Rally team, and we also then catch up with Matt Edwards, who is looking forward to a year in the Tarmac Championship, and then finally is Sean Hyde, the new Tarmac Championship rally manager too. So another very interesting episode ahead. But yeah, Connor, it's like dry tarmac. It's going to be then one of the first guys on the road. It's going to be starting off favourite then.
Absolutely. Certainly road position is going to help. So that's going to play into Elvin Evans's hands.
Hmm.
But Tanak quickest in shakedown. And if you think about it, getting into a car, going back to the team, getting used to a new car again, and a car that was previously built around or engineered around Terry Neville, and yet Tanak set the pace already.
Yeah, I like Tanik is one of them guys who just seems to if the car is nearly right, he can extract it out of it. So yeah, it's hard to know. It's if things start falling in Tanik's favour and things start to click, we know how frighteningly fast he can be.
Yeah, extremely fast. Now, in fairness, Monty hasn't been kind to him the last few years. He's had issues, he's had problems, he's had exclusions from poor tire strategy, all the rest of it. But yeah, he's long overdue. Things have settled for him. The issues that he had, in his own personal life of, they're not there to the same extent anymore. He's maybe made decisions where he wants to be and how much time he has left to get his championship potential or the driver's title back. And I would say he is very well settled and very content to come back to a different Hyundai team.
Yeah, for sure. Like, we spoke about this when we spoke to Bex and Luke there a couple of weeks ago. Like, Hyundai is a different team than the team he left.
Yeah, very, very much so. So it will be very interesting. And again, you know, Cyril has said to the team manager there will be team orders, but they won't be decided until into the season till they see how the cards lie. So it really is. It's going to be a dogfight between Neville and Tanak for dominance in that team.
Yeah. And then, like, OJ is back as well to, start off his campaign in Monte Carlo. We're still not really sure how many rounds he's doing. Will it be the same as last year? Will it just be the 8 rounds, or, how will that shake out as well, too? And, like, it's hard to look past OJ and up, especially with the stages up around Gap. But then he's running quite a bit further back, too, which may be a bit of a hindrance on the first day, anyway.
Absolutely. Like he is the master of Monty. You know, it's his home rally. He is an absolute star in that event. He's led the way so many times in the past. But you're right. Normally, road position would be favorable here when it's snowy and icy. Not this time round. He is going to have to deal with a lot of mud, a lot of stones out. And we've seen on other rallies how quickly that pollution can really dirty the road and make it difficult once you're kind of running fourth or fifth down the road.
Hmm.
So it's going to be tough for him on day one, especially.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then, like Evans, he had the injury he was carrying there before Christmas and all. But going by the talk, he seems to be well settled again and ready to rock.
Yeah, like, very unfortunate, fell off a mountain bike while he's just, out doing his training. Thankfully, he's recovered quite well and doesn't seem to have, between the test days and the shakedown, doesn't seem to be causing any issues, doesn't seem to be in any pain or any difficulty driving. So that's great. It's just a case of how quickly can he get sorted and settled in that car. It does, we've seen since he moved to the Rally One hybrids hasn't just settled into the car as well. He had a better year last year than the previous year, but hopefully with the coming on the back of a win in Japan, okay, it was a couple of months ago, but that should be huge confidence boost for him going into Monty.
Yeah, for sure. And talking another man who had, should be taking great confidence out of Japan was Takamoto as well too, who had a fantastic run in Japan, and hopefully he can keep that confidence high going into Monte Carlo now this weekend as well.
Absolutely. And, could play into his hands. We're looking at a dry Monty.
Hmm.
If you look at Japan, what he did, and torrential rain in Japan, fairly wet conditions took, off the top of my head, 9 stage wins. So, if he carries that form into Monte Carlo, that, could bode well for maybe getting a podium possibly here.
And then Mickelson making the return to Hyundai as well too. He's not obviously. I don't think he's going to be on the podium pace straight away, but he will. As the season progresses, he will take points off. He's up. Maybe off Toyota and one thing or another. It's just hard to know how it'll all fare out. But Andreas on his day can be as quick as anybody. It may take him a few events just to get the speed to where it needs to be.
Absolutely. Look, he's got to adjust to a new car, but he's a previous WRC winner. Look at what he's done in Rally 2, WRC 2 for the last 2 seasons. Mr. Consistency and no issue there. He knows how to turn the pace. He knows how to steady himself and have a controlled rally as well. And he doesn't lose the head when he's under pressure.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And then finally, M Sport as well too. New lineup this year, like for Mo and Munster. You know, a bright young team there. But like, has the car been developed from last year? Jamie told you that car will be continuously developed. Towards the end of last year. Be interesting just to see how they compare now. It's a big ask for them two young guys now to step up to the ultimate WRC pace.
Yeah, look, there's big pressure there. Like Formeau took a year out to go back to WRC2 to steady himself, to get more experience, just to, refine his rally craft, which he did extremely well. He did very well in WRC2 and he took the BRC honors as well. So, he's got good experience again under, Malcolm Wilson's management or coaching or mentoring to get him settled. So look, I would say the team's extremely confident of returning of Adrian returning to the Rally One. But it's a tough ask. It's still a small team on a tight budget.
Hmm.
What do you call it? It's very hard to go for a driver's title when you really have only, one strong contender there and no real support from your teammate. Gregor Munster, yeah, good driver, solid driver, but again, he is still, he's fairly new and young in in
Hmm.
in the sport. And Rally One, this is apart from a couple of runs last year, it's all new to him.
Yeah, but I have to say, he was very impressive in the couple of runs he had last year. He settled in well. As a rally winner this year? No, I don't think he is. But I think as the year progresses, he will start nipping at maybe fourth, fifth, around that there, and hopefully that will give him the confidence then to push on.
Absolutely. I suppose what M Sport need to come up with is upgrades to the engine. Really, now the Puma needs to get that extra, couple of K at top end speed to really help them.
And then the real big news coming out of Monte Two, I suppose, is in Rally Two is that the Yaris is making finally being released and competitively. We've seen the videos of it testing one thing and another to actually see it now You know, at the clock ticking now, it's going to be very interesting. Like this car, there's been a lot of hype about it, and you know, there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on the Yaris this weekend.
You're right. Like, when you think it's only a WRC2 car, and I say that, tongue in cheek only, the amount of hype there has been, the amount of, expectation around a WRC2 car, like it's incredible.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And like, I caught up with Paul Murphy. You know, he is one of the engineers behind the Gazoo Toyota team, and just to get his thoughts on the Rally One and especially on the Rally Two program. Looking forward to the 2024 season now.
Yeah, you're always looking forward to it because there's a bit of a change now with things have changed. Kelly's not there to do a full season. Tanak's in a Hyundai, so there's more to think about. We just have to get back to the grindstone, I suppose. And, yeah, looking apprehensive, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, is there always the you know the worry that like Hyundai will have found something that that'll make a massive difference to their car, or is it the regulations have almost got to the point now that it's more fine tuning than actually turning something up new?
I suppose they found Tanak, so that's a big step for them. There always is that thing. We kind of know what's coming for them because every team gets a preview of what jokers they're going to use. So we kind of know what's coming from their side. Okay, there's always the parts that you don't know if they found performance somewhere from unlocked a bit of performance from something from somewhere. Then yeah, there's always that. But I suppose their biggest problem was, I suppose, reliability. So if they've got some reliability and get some consistency and they can string a few more wins together, then it'll put a bit of pressure on us.
Yeah, because you have to say, since Cyril came into the team last year, they seem to have refined the team a lot more. It seems to be things are a lot smoother from the outside looking in anyway.
I hope not. But looks like that. Let's see what the reality is.
Yeah, for sure. And from your own point of view, is there anything, I know there was an upgrade at the tail end of last year with the Toyota. Is there anything, can we expect anything new now going in at early 2024?
Yeah, well, I think there was publicised that we have upgrades coming for the third rally, which is Kenya. So we have a fairly decent upgrade coming for that. And yeah, we're always working on. There's nothing. I wouldn't say there's anything major coming from Monty. It's more about Monty's more about getting the tyre choice correct and staying on the road, making sure your notes are correct, your gravel notes are correct, and yeah, you're more interested in the tyre choice there than anything else. So not so much coming from Monty, but there was a few upgrades at the end of last year which not all cars had in Japan. So all cars will have those upgrades now in Monty. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, and Monty this year is based in Gap, and you just have the man from the town as well. There has to be an ace up the sleeve there as well.
I hope so. He's I forget now how many times he's won it, to be honest.
8 or 9 times he's won the rally now, So,
but that's he still has to finish like everybody else. So it could be a different rally this year. If there's a lot of snow, if it's a lot more trickier this year, could be a different outcome.
Yeah, isn't that always the very first rally of the year, and Monty provides a completely different challenge to any other event. It can be so much of a lotto because the tyre choice, as you say, is just so vital.
Yeah, tyre choice is vital, and managing your pace, and not risking too much, and I suppose just having a steady run and not doing anything silly, getting to the end, and I think that'll be the key. From what I've heard is that if there's no snow this year, then there'll never be snow on Monty, because I think that what I've heard is the organisers have actually went to try and find snow. So they've looked for altitude, and So there should be plenty of snow and ice, from what I understand.
And like we're at that period of the season, we're seeing lots of videos coming through from testing and one thing and another, and like I don't know, I've never been to Monte, but it seems such a climate all of its own. Like one section of the road can be bone dry, next corner can be icy, the next corner there can be snow on it.
Yeah, and that's where the gravel nuts come in, or the safety nuts come in. It's they play a big role in Monte and getting the information back to the crews, and really pinpointing where the ice is, and where there's no ice, where there's no snow. They really help us as well on the team, to select the tires.
Mm-hmm.
And they play a vital role. Yeah, it's a tricky rally. It's probably, for sure, it's the trickiest of the year.
Yeah, and even then for the setup of the car, like is there like an almost a Monte spec setup as well that you have to play it a wee bit safe as well?
Yeah, you play it safe and you find a happy medium, and you find ways to tweak the car within what you can do between stages. Because obviously you can't make any major changes between stages, but for sure you find ways to tweak the car depending on what tires is on the car at the time. If you've cross, if you have stud, if you have a slick, okay, bigger changes like that can be made in service depending on the bigger range of tire choices. But if you're going from a four same tires on the car to a cross, there is some small changes you can make on the car concerning preloads, roll bars, things like that. Yeah.
And like a stupid question, probably from Nick. No, you'll think this is stupid, but crossing tires, will it make such a huge difference to the handling of the car through the stage?
Yeah. But these guys can cope with it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're perfect. So they test it, and they know what the car's going to do, and okay, they have their own theories on where they want to cross, if they want it on a stud on the rear left or the rear right. So they have their own theory on what they want to do on that. But yeah, let's say they're well versed in driving cross.
Yeah, like, is it almost like a driver's choice? Like there'd be no, like, Elfin might not pick the same way across them as Sebastian or whatever. It's down to just driver preference, really.
Well, it was when I was there, but when I was there, maybe they've got a bit more scientific about it in the last 4 or 5 years. So.
Yeah, and then the other big thing about coming up now in Monte is the competitive debut of the Rally 2 Toyota. Like, I suppose all the testing and everything else, but you never really know until the clock starts ticking at the start of the first special stage.
Yeah, it's. I suppose that is a bit nerve-wracking. It is exciting at the same time, because it will be interesting really to see where we are in the pace. But I suppose Monty's not the best one to see that, but it's more about we'll probably see more about the reliability there, because it's a whole new structure, it's a whole new car. You're building cars for production. You're finding, I think everybody would agree that when you build something 1 or 2 times, you can do it very well, but when you start to do it for production, so it's making sure the customer gets the best car and built to specification and no reliability issues. But that's interesting. I was just looking at the entry there. I think we're the second highest manufacturer there, the number of cars.
Right. Yes.
I think Skoda have the most. I lost count when I counted Skoda, but then we have 4. I think Hyundai have 3, Ford have 3. What's the other one? Volkswagen have 3, and we have 4.
Yeah, and that speaks volumes for like people's perception that Toyota's going to build a good car. So that, like, even in its own way will put pressure on that the car has to be right from the get-go.
Well, that's the expectation we put on ourselves. To be honest, we've got to build a good car. We didn't want to just make up the numbers, so and just get a car out there. We wanted the best car out there. Yeah, there is a lot of hype around it. I think there's a lot of expectation around it. It's been in the background for a long time, even back as first 2017. I can remember people asking, "Oh, when's the?" I think it was rally. No, R5 back then.
Yep, yep.
They were asking like, "When's the Toyota coming? When's the Toyota Rally 3 coming?" So it's here now. Let's see how good a job we've done.
Yeah, and like this is such a new departure for Toyota. Like right from even the TTE days, they never really had a customer team the way like the Pro Drive or whatever would have had. That like this is a complete new departure, and like obviously that brings its new challenges as well. Like there's obviously a production line almost of these being built along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole new department. It's a whole new workshop. It's new warehouse, new trucks, new build area, new people, and new processes. So yeah, it's a big undertaking, to be honest. That's the big. I suppose I would say getting the car out there is probably the easy part. The support, the parts supply, the support, the engineering support. That's probably going to be the getting parts to customers. I suppose is going to be the key to make sure it's successful. You can have the car can be quick, but if you're not getting the parts to the customers and customers not happy, then how quick the car is usually
it's irrelevant then, really, isn't it? Yeah, if there's issues around supply, and like Paul Murphy, what was he involved in the design and the concept of this car then as well?
Not really. Yeah, concept, not really. More so the let's say drivetrain, transmissions. So everything basically from flywheel to the hub. That was sort of my area. So transmission selection is part of that. There's not so many suppliers in the Rally 2 world, so it's quite easy to select certain suppliers for certain parts. So yeah, but it's there's a lot of work last 2 years actually since we homologated Rally 1 in end of 2021. It's been sort of flat out on, because you always have your development reliability issues on a new car, even on Rally 1, and then it was straight into, so 2022 was sorting that out, and through 2022, and then Rally 2 was coming online early part of 2022, and then we get into testing end of 22, so it's pretty much been flat out, to be honest, probably since the last time I spoke to you.
And I remember the time that the R5 Fiesta was introduced. Now, I spoke to Robert Barrable. He was one of the first guys to have one here in Ireland, and he was saying that this was a completely different car from the world car, the world rally car Fiesta. Is it is there any similarities or very little similarities between the Rally 1 and the Rally 2 car?
Not really, to be honest. In terms of parts, no. Maybe seats.
The badge in the front.
Yeah, badge. Okay, things like bonnet, doors, tailgate, yes, they're from the road car. But even wheels, to be honest, are different. So it's just, you caught me on the hop. Actually, I'm trying to think now. There's not many similar in terms of parts and structure and how we've done it. No, I wouldn't say there's so many similar. There can't really be, because it's a price sensitive car, and you're trying to, everything has a lot of parts of a cost cap, and you still have to think about the profit, and car has to be profitable. The business of selling these cars has to be profitable. So no, not so many similarities between the cars.
I suppose they have to be as well. It's not going to be just the works team working on them. They have to be probably more, in inverted commas, easier to work on as well too, because they'll be filtering down through down into privateer hands and all too.
It'd have to be easier to work on. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. I wouldn't say the Rally 1 car is difficult to work on, but the guys can practice on that quite a lot, and they get to know the car. So any like niggles we have, they can find a way around them. But I would say you're right. The Rally 2 car definitely has to have to be user friendly.
Mm-hmm. And what we hear about M Sport and they have 500 Fiestas or whatever produced. What is Toyota's hope? Is there an infinite number of these, or do they intend building only 200, or is there a kind of infinite number on them?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't. I can't imagine that there's a limit. I can't imagine there's a limit. Like, I mean, there's a long-term plan for Toyota in Finland. So, I can't see that they're going to put a limit on this. I suppose it'll depend on how quickly you can get parts in the door and customer demand. If the demand's there, the next thing will be how quickly we can build them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always an issue in the current market. You just getting materials, getting parts, getting enough parts in the door to build the cars is always tricky.
Yeah, because I know the Skoda, the thing they had to actually delay it, didn't they, because COVID and one thing or another, the supply chain had kind of broken down. And I don't even think it's fully back up to speed. I suppose that's an issue for you guys as well too, that you want to make sure that the supply chain's there before you go at it full hog either too.
You can always count enough parts to build more cars, but then you don't have parts to supply as spare parts. So you have to sort of balance the two of them between spare parts and building cars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I wouldn't say the supply chain. I'd say it's getting back to where it was, but I wouldn't say it's back to where it was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So definitely not.
Yeah, and you should probably run the figures, and you've looked at all the data and all. How useful is probably not how useful is it? How accurate can that be whenever the car actually hits the ground? Is there always something turns up that all the data just doesn't pick up?
So always something turns up. Always the unexpected. Always something new.
Yeah,
that's
it's just the joys of rally.
It's just that there's always something.
Yeah, and I suppose because you are a reactive team, you are able to if you see something, you are able to react to it very quick and put the processes in place to hopefully prevent it happening again.
Yeah, you have to be reactive. You have to be able to react very quickly. It's one of the things that's quite key in the company, is that if we need to react quickly, we can and we will.
Mm-hmm. You have the freedom and the okay to do it as such. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
And you said Monte's not going to be probably the ideal guide to where the pace is at. This car has to be quick on tar, it has to be quick on gravel, it has to be quick on snow.
It has to be quick in Ireland.
It has to be quick in Ireland. That's it. This is going to be. Is it how do you is how do I again put it? Do you have to, whenever you're engineering a car, do you have to take in all these different factors? You don't just go for the ultimate setup. Oh, this will just work so well in tarmac, but in the back of your head, thinking this won't work in gravel, or is there always a sort of compromise?
Well, there's always a compromise because of the regulations, and there's always a compromise with your concept car. So yes, there's always a compromise, but yes, you can have a car that works very well on tarmac or not so well on gravel, or a car that works very well on gravel and not so well on tarmac. Usually, if you have a car working well on, I would say, easier to make a car work well on tarmac if it's working well on gravel than the other way around. Okay. But I mean, we put drivers in the car to give us feedback who have experience of all the cars, and we rely on what they're telling us. And for sure, you never know until you go into competition, but for sure, what we can see, the feedback is good. We've compared to other cars, the feedback's good. We're hopeful that the car is very good, but you never know until you get into competition.
Yeah. And I suppose because the Rally 5 or R5 Rally 2 regulations have been been in existence now for so long, it is difficult to find that magic, the golden bullet as such. There's, because the restrictions are so tight. We've seen the cars are so close, and you're not going to find a second a kilometre out of nowhere. It's going to be every tenth of a second is going to be hard won.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. That's how it is, and that's how it's always been in that category. You know, there's better cars than others. We've seen that. We know that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, do we make a step, or if we make a step compared to the others, or if we're pretty on par with the Skoda, or if we're, it'll be interesting to see where we go. That's what I'm looking forward to, I suppose, the most.
Yeah, because I suppose competition drives you. It makes you want to see if you can find something that'll make that wee fraction of a difference in every kilometre.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now in front of the computer. Yeah,
Well,
it's
Paul, it's been an absolute pleasure, and maybe we'll catch up with you later in the year just to see how the development is going, both on the Rally 1 and in the Rally 2 car.
yeah, that's all right, no bother.
So thanks very much to Paul, and we'll definitely try and catch up with him later in the season. I think that it's going to be very interesting to see how this Yaris gets on now, and now that we're finally going to see it in competition. Also, not this weekend, next weekend we have Galway coming up, and there's been a few announcements made about who's going to be coming out to register for the Tarmac Championship, and it's fantastic to see Keith Cronin back and Matt Edwards. I think they're going to add a wee bit more spice, Connor, to the championship this year.
Oh, listen, look, the more drivers, the merrier. We always say that every year, but no, I'm delighted to see Keith. Genuinely, because with, I suppose, him doing the BRC championship the last couple of years, it's kind of been looking at videos and looking at photos, but not getting to see him in real life. So it's fantastic now they get a chance to see him out in the stages. And then Matt Edwards, I suppose, the last 2 years we've been itching to see Matt in Donegal, but to think that he's actually going to take on the whole Irish Tarmac Championship now, that's just fantastic. It's really going to throw the competition up to another level, I think.
Absolutely, Callum and Josh are, and all the other guys have two more guys that's going to be there. We keep saying that there's this top 10, everybody's looking at that going to the start, thinking at least the podium. This is more numbers looking for, going there. Like the Galway entry list out, and it's phenomenal. Like the number of guys you're thinking, there's a guy that's not going to be far away. There's another boy that's not going to be too far away either, and that goes right down through, down to into the early 20s.
Yeah, listen, I think it's a real fantastic mix of an entry as well. When you look like, even when you look at it and you see Austin McHale, it's like just incredible the mixture of competitors that are on that event or on that entry list.
Yeah, like to see we've seen the McHale name back, but to see Austin's name back, like that
Yeah.
is, pretty epic. And then the Focus WRC as well too, it is going to be something special. But we'll talk more about, the Galway and the ins and outs of it all next week. But I caught up with Matt Edwards to say and get his thoughts on why, what was the appeal of the Tarmac Championship. So, Matt, as we're at this stage just over a week away from the start of Galway, you've registered for the championship and you're going to be in the start list there for Galway. What an epic lineup there's going to be.
It does look a bit like that, yeah. We've actually managed to get there as well this time. This is we've tried a couple of times the last 2 or 3 years to start Galway, fallen at the final hurdle a couple of times, but yeah, with the help of a lot of people involved, we are actually making plans to go, and I've got a plan to go and do a recce and everything now. So yeah, exciting list of names, as you say.
Yeah, and you've stated over now the last, I suppose, 2-3 years now at this stage, that your desire to come and compete in Ireland and you wanted to tackle a full Tarmac Championship. Like you're a 3-time British champion. What has been the appeal that makes you want to come to Ireland to compete?
I've always watched a lot of the British Championship and Irish Championship videos, I suppose, is one of the reasons, and I've always held the events with high regard. And Killarney, West Cork, and Donegal, they're all big events that I've always watched and wanted to be part of, and to be doing starting the event that's the year with Galway, traditional events, a bit of a bobble hatter at heart, so to go and do these big events in Ireland is on the list, and I suppose the limitation of budget means to go outside of UK and Ireland is a big stretch for me. Obviously, this is a big enough stretch as it is, but to try and get back into a championship campaign after 2 or 3 years out is really difficult. So to try and go and do anything beyond that wasn't even was nowhere near realistic. I would have happily gone and done British Championship again, to be honest, just to go out and do a championship. And I love rallying. Is the end of, and at the end of the day, so to be out doing anything is a bonus. And to put something together to come to Ireland, I think off the back of some good results over the years in Ireland has generated quite a lot of support from there. And to be honest, it's proved more successful trying to raise the budget with contacts in Ireland than it has as at home. So it's
because in the last 2 years now, you've been working with Pirelli and Dave Moynihan and all that, helping guys out with their tyre selection in Ireland too. And you've really taken that job very seriously. You're out driving your Ricky in the stages, you're getting a feel for it, and you're giving the guys real good feedback for what tyres to you. And I think that's standing to you, that people have got to know you, got to trust you, they know that you're there for the right reasons.
Yeah, they might not listen, but they've got to know me. Yeah, I mean, I do take that very seriously, and Pirelli have been good to me in the British Championship, and the relationships built from there, and obviously got Dave to know Dave through that, and Jonathan Wells at Pirelli through the course of that championship. So the opportunity to come and do that job for Pirelli in Ireland was a great opportunity for me. Again, to repay some of their efforts they put towards me in years gone by, and I've got a lot of faith in the brand, to be honest. I'm passionate about the brand. I trust it implicitly.
And I suppose we should mention too your other thing, the coaching as well. Like the Irish really have taken you to heart there as well too. You spend quite a lot of time over here now with the training and all as well too. So
I think I did 18 or 19 trips on the ferry last year, between the Pirelli job and my own tuition. So and tying both of those in together at times with the tuition and the Pirelli. But yeah, I don't mind the travelling. The travelling's part and parcel of that way of life, I suppose. And just everybody has a really open mind to rallying, I think. And, nobody's afraid of taking new information on board and learning a bit. And I think it's been really nice to be approached by so many people. Quite frequently it's people that I've looked up to in the past have come to me for a bit of help, and that feels really nice. And I enjoy working with those sorts of people, offering an insight into the rallying that I've done in this sort of generation of R5 Rally 2 cars, I think. And I think generally people that pick up the phone or send a WhatsApp or whatever, they've got an open mind to it, and I just really enjoy sort of working with those people. And every day is different. I learn something every time we go out, and I think not having done a championship over the last 2-3 years, to have been so busy in that respect, has helped a lot for when I do get back in a car. It doesn't feel so alien, if you like, because although I very rarely drive on the test days, I'm still thinking and feeling and almost driving it myself from the other seat, to then be able to offer advice, whether it be car setup or driver, co-driver, whatever it may be. So it stood me in good stead, as well as being obviously a nice way to earn a living.
Yeah, because your senses are still fully tuned in. You're feeling the reactions through the seat of the pants, almost like we always talk about the driving, feeling getting that sense through the seat of your pants. You're still picking up on that, even though you're in the passenger seat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I don't think that the longer you are without that sensation, the harder it is to come back. And we did the Pirelli test with the RA9 compound before Christmas, and I went down the road in one of Ryan Loughran's cars, Fiesta, and it did take me a run or two to tune in again, because I hadn't driven an R5 on tarmac since Donegal. So that's 4 or 5 months at least. So it does take a while to tune in. So I think the beauty of this year for me is I haven't got to be 10 tenths on the first stage or the first 3 stages to generate a good chance at the championship at the end of the year. It's probably suits my methodology and my process a bit better to have more time to build up into the year, if you like, and not have to go and do anything special on a one-off event to try and justify my existence again.
And like, I suppose, like, and before we move away from the coaching side of the thing, the other thing you do is, you're working even with the guys in the junior 1000 there too. I seen you're over with a couple of them guys, was it last week or the week before, and like they are the next generation. Like that whole initiative around that, like, we've seen what it can do. Like Wall Crichton, junior world rally champion last year, started out in that junior 1000 category. Elfyn Evans started out in the micro, whatever, 15, 16 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
there's such, this is the grassroots rally, and this is where we need to be getting guys in and getting them involved.
Yeah, there's a lot of enthusiasm for it. Generally you're dealing with a family there as well. So it's the father, the son, the husband, the wife. Yeah, everybody is involved. And it may be controversial, but I think the only potential downfall of that championship is the focus on time. Because a lot of the young lads and the young girls, they're focusing on getting from A to B as fast as possible, which, although is the ultimate aim, the environment that they do it in a lot of the time, on the airfields, and there is more space than they have on the closed roads and the forests. So I think, perhaps there should be a little bit more emphasis on furthest, cleanest, fastest, cleanest. Maybe take some sort of damage penalties into account just to try and emphasise the importance on driving neatly and tidily as well as quickly, so that a lot of these families are on a budget. They could do more rallying for the money they're spending, sometimes with the amount of damage that's being done. So it would just be, and I think that idea stems from how I've had to go about my rallying, from since I started, really, because I haven't been able to afford to bend a panel, and to damage the cars is a big setback. So it's generated a fairly sort of risk-free driving style that I think some people could sort of adopt and go further for the budget they've got.
Yeah, because in the greater scheme of things, if you can get round a rally and do as little damage as possible, it's the difference between doing maybe 4 events in a year and doing 2.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly. When I'm with these people, and it's the fastest way to drive a Junior 1000 car is effectively keep your foot flat to the throttle and change gear without taking your foot off the throttle, but and give it, try not to take your foot off the throttle at all. But that if that was in a 230 brake Rally 4 Fiesta or Rally 4 Peugeot, you'd be blowing the gearbox and the drive shafts to pieces. So the fastest way to drive one of the Junior 1000s cars doesn't necessarily translate to any other car they'll ever drive.
Yes.
So
I suppose they'd be better working on their style rather than on their speed.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I tend to go about it.
Excellent. So anyway, that's for another day's talk. Galway, like, how excited are you to be, going over Ayr Square? Ceremony will start on the Friday night at Galway.
Probably not as excited as I should be yet, because I feel like there's still a lot to get in place. It's like, as I sort of touched on before, it's really exciting to have a year pretty much sorted in a car. With wanting to do it again for a good few years, and it's nice to be able to focus on a whole season rather than just one event. But there's so many things that are going into it. Lots of sponsors, lots of grades of sponsorship, lots of things to put in place, because effectively myself and Dave and a very small number of people are actually making the logistics happen, if that makes sense. So we've got a lot of things to sort out still for getting the first car ready, a bit of a seat time and the recce, and where's everybody staying, and all these sorts of things have come together quite quickly. Race suits, banners, posters, whatever we're trying to do to maximize the sort of coverage we can get. And I've spent a lot of time trying to improve my social media, because that's obviously a lot. Even in the 3 years since I last did a championship, it's come on again as to the focus of where it has to be for your sponsors and people who are supporting you. And Marty from C&M's been amazing in what he's done to help get it off the ground, and he's putting a lot of effort in. And we just want to try and maximise that for everybody involved. So, although the thought of going over the ramp is exciting, that's probably not going to really kick in until
Friday evening.
and recce done and ready to go, because at that point we probably can't do much else to affect what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And you're back in the festival. We spoke last year after the Midland stages, and you said that you were quite happy with the festival the way it was. But I'm guessing the new car is going to have all the latest upgrades. The new pack that was homologated, and that's going to make it even better. So you think the Fiesta is going to be ultra competitive come the start of Galway?
Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, I hope it's coming with all the right bits on. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to be in a brand new car with upgrades since that, because as you say, I was happy and comfortable. We stayed at a comfortable pace all day in the Midlands because it was the first one back since the 22 incident in Donegal. But it would just be nice if I could get that feeling back from that we had on the Midlands, because that was I felt comfortable and confident with the car, and if we get somewhere near there, that level of comfort and sort of consistent sensation in the car, I'd be very happy. And what I think my approach to Galway will be similar to that rally. I think whatever our comfortable, consistent pace will give us in Galway is what we'll take away from it.
Yeah, because you will rally your own rally. You'll not be too concerned about what anybody else is doing.
Yeah, I think having sort of done my homework and understood the conditions and the potential for conditions, it's a bit like the Monte Carlo of the Irish Tarmac Championship, isn't it? The changeability, and you don't have to be the fastest on every stage, as Mary improved last year. And I think that suits me better than having to go flat out on bone dry tarmac for 3 days. I think. although when it comes to it, I do manage to find a little bit of a gear for that, but you're just very aware of the speed you're going at those times.
Yeah. And then, we see, all the regular guys there, Callum, Josh and Sam and all, and also making a return is Keith Cronin and Mickey Galvin too, like an old sparring partner from your BRC days as well.
Yeah, we swapped many a stage time, myself and Keith. Yeah, brilliant to have him back. I went to see him. It's probably 12 months ago now I last saw him. But yeah, we got on really well, and we've had some good times in the last probably 4 or 5 years ago now. But yeah, it adds a lot of spice to the championship, and in the same car, same tyres, so there's only one variable there. So that's why I've sort of. It's nice to get into that championship mindset again, though, and to have something to focus on, because as we said when we were speaking earlier, when you haven't really got the focus of a championship, for me, that I've had basically for 20 years of my life, to then not have that, right, we've done that one, we're going to focus on the next one, and then the next one, improve yourself, improve the car, all the work you do that keeps you driving forward to get better, fitter, stronger, all the rest of it. When that drive isn't there, or that focus point isn't there, it's, it is a struggle. And, you wonder what your purpose is anymore, and you wonder if you're never going to get the chance again. So it's nice to have the motivation back to go and have a proper crack at something.
Yeah, and you mentioned there earlier was Marty McKenna, like C&M Motors and Noma. Like Marty has only in the last few years started to sell rally cars, but he has really taken it on board, and he the cars he's moving. And the way he's putting so much effort back into rallying as well, it's not all take, it's a lot of give with him as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic, and he's some fella with his commitment for the sport, his love for the sport. And I think it's just an excuse to almost be involved in rallying as a job rather than just a hobby. I think it's the ideal scenario, really. You can talk rallying all day. Although, if you have a bad weekend, it probably isn't quite such a bonus. But yeah, he's putting a lot back in, which is nice to see. And the sport needs people like Marty they're going to put something back in. And if everybody tries to do their bit where they can to help out, and I think that it'll increase the longevity of the sport. Because ultimately, if there's nobody rallying, he's got no customers either. That's why I put me few days here and there for people that. Think warrant it, the odd prize here and there, because ultimately, if there's nobody rallying, I've got no customers either.
Yeah.
So if you put a little bit back in the pot and make it a bit more, something to aim for other people. That's important for the future of the sport, I think.
Yeah, and another man we should give a mention to is Dave, your co-driver, Dave Moynihan. Dave, he has been the driving force, behind you getting back again to, he had the run in Donegal. He had to get back to Donegal last year. You had to come with him, and he was adamant he was going to get you in a championship here this year. And here you are.
He is unreal, to be fair, and he's put a lot of faith in me. He has a lot of faith in me. Don't know why, but he does. And it's nice to have somebody that's working, with you. It has taken me a little bit of time to be comfortable picking up the phone, asking people for a bit of help here and there, and what can I do for you? What can you do for me? How can we make something positive out of it? Because I think ultimately I've been around that long and I've had some good success. I think the assumption is that the budget's always there, and it's almost, I've almost felt quite embarrassed to begin asking people again for help, because the assumption is that it's not a problem, but it is a big problem. There is no sort of pot of gold there that I'm just leaving alone for a while. I've been looking for it for a while, but no, Dave's tenacity is to be admired, really, and he's really got me back on the horse, trying to, it's not that I wasn't hungry for it, but between the hunger to do it is a big hurdle of finding the finances, and that's a, it is a, not contentious issue, but it's a difficult issue to discuss with people, and without coming across that you're just trying to take away and for your own benefit. I'm a firm believer of anybody that helps us, needs some value out of, in whatever way they want it. It could be, the sticker on the car could be what they want. Some people that help don't want anything on the car. They just want an in-car video afterwards, or they want to just talk about it with you after the rally. Everybody has their own little takeaway from getting involved, and we try to, that's why I've never really put a sponsorship proposal together, because that one proposal you put together was only really geared for one type of business or one type of agenda. So we're very open-minded as to what we can do and help people, and anybody that wants a nice quarter panel available on a Fiesta Rally 2 for Galway, there's still space. So.
Yeah, this is the thing. The way your approach to rallying is it's not what you can get off people; it's what you can give them back as much as anything else as well. You the old Irish thing. You do a deal, you always give somebody a luck penny. There's always a give back from what it's not. You give me the money and good luck to you. There's always going to be a payback somewhere along the way for you.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any other way it should be, to be honest. It's just looking after people, look after you, and I think that's the way to go about things. And I feel a lot better, going away with a good result. Everybody's happy, but even if I have a bad result, I've still had the opportunity to go and drive a Rally 2 car on a fantastic event, and it's a privilege to be in the position that people want to help, and B, that I can go to an event and generally be quite competitive, early on, and it's a nice position to be in, but not to be taken advantage of and become expecting of people.
Mm-hmm. And if somebody does want to get involved, contact either yourself or Dave. Social media is probably the best place to find you, is it?
Yeah. I mean, Facebook, Instagram as well, but we're not generally difficult to get hold of. So there's plenty of space on the car. We're trying to do it in a way that spreads the cost a little bit for people. It's like a monthly idea rather than just all in one go, and just a bit more bite sized than we've had to try and do it for Donegal before. It just gives us the opportunity to give value over a year rather than just one event, and the locality of each event gives a scope for different benefits wherever we go.
So I think Martin Day is going to definitely put a cat amongst the pigeons there this year, so that's going to be good. I also got a chance to catch up with Sean Hyde. Sean is the new Tarmac Championship manager this year, and hopefully he'll put in place a lot of things we talk about as well too. He doesn't tend to shake it up a wee bit and give everybody the same publicity. I felt he said that a lot of the modified guys and things like that felt a wee bit left out last year. he's looking to get them included and, you know, make things better for everybody, and that has to be welcomed, you know. So, Sean, the very best of luck in your new role. And he also wanted to take the opportunity, and he forgot to mention it when we were recording, was to thank all the sponsors involved as well too. Sandic Security is the overall sponsor of the, you know, the Rally 5 R2 or the R5 Rally 2 guys, and then McAvoy Motorsport is the modified, and then Synergy Motorsport and Sherwood are sponsoring the Historic Championship, and then Paul Brown Plant and Silver Engineering are sponsoring the juniors, and then also associated sponsor is Pirelli and Michelin as well too. So definitely very interesting times ahead, and we've also got the Stellantis Cup and the Citroen C3 trophy as well too, you know. So lots of stuff going on in the Tarmac Championship this year. But let's hear from Sean. Sean, you've taken on the position now of the Tarmac Association, the TROA manager. Excited about the new challenge?
Oh, absolutely. Really, really looking forward to it. It's going to be a big challenge. Everything won't be started out overnight. I'm hoping to enhance where it has come from in the last couple of years. And you know, things look good so far. Been speaking to quite a few. I've spoken to different people in the different categories so far, just to get their feelings and things like that. And it's only with competitors, you know, views and things like that, where we can review and go forward and, you know, try and accommodate where possible, you know. But it's going to be a challenge. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, because like, you know, like we see how good a health, you know, the main field is and the historics is, but there's a wee bit in the middle there that needs to be nurtured, I suppose. Maybe would be a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, I suppose we're talking about the modified there, really. I mean, you know, I suppose we're lucky in a sense that I have come up through the ranks. I've sat in every car apart from the juniors. They came after I passed that age limit. But yeah, I mean, the modified category, you know, has probably been neglected a little bit, but I'm hoping to change that going forward. And you know, we've got good partner sponsors and everything, and Gary and Sharon McAvoy of Auto Fashion Clothing are the sponsors of that section. You know, I have been in contact with some of the competitors in the modified, speaking to them and asking, you know, where I can go, what I can do, how we can assist, you know, and it's all good feedback coming back, and it just there's a feel good factor about it. I feel, you know, but that will tell. You know, we'll see how it goes in Galway, and progress from there. You know, we've 7 good rounds this year again. You know, so hopefully everything, and you know, yes, they probably feel that they were probably neglected, and that's no fault of anybody.
No.
I'm not blaming anybody or anything like that. It's just that, you know, we need to remember that I suppose they were the backbone of rallying for years. You know, they're the clubmen. You know, so we need to make sure we look after them to the best of our ability.
Yeah, because like, you know, every entry counts in an entry list, whether you're car 1 or car 101 or car 71 or whatever, your entry is every bit as important.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, ideally, I'd love to have every competitor down to 151 and further if they're there to get every stage going. You know, now circumstances happen that it won't happen. Some may miss out, some might, but you know, as you say, their money is as good as anyone, and they are our customer at the end of the day. So we need to do what we can to ensure we can get as much mileage for their entry fee and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. And like, you know, you talked about the, you know, the sponsors, like, you know, the main, you know, the overall title. There's, you know, a really good sponsor there. Then the modified, the juniors, and the historics. And it's good now that it's just not one size fits all. Every category has its own sponsor, and they have their own, you know, championship, and it's tailored to their needs.
It is. I mean, I suppose after COVID and everything, trying to get sponsors and things was probably going to be proving a little bit of difficulty. But like for the international there, we've got Samdec Security. You know, as I said, we've got Gary and Sharon for the modified. We've got Sherwood Engines for the historics, and we've got Paul Brown Civil Engineers for the juniors. So, you know, and we've also Michelin and Pirelli on board as well. So, you know, it's great to have the different partners to assist us, I suppose, in keeping the Premier Championship going in Ireland, you know. So here's hoping that they'll continue with us going into the future as well.
Yeah, because like there's so much positivity around, you know, the main field. Like we probably might be seen as bragging, but we feel we have one of the best championships in Europe. Like the rallying, you know, seconds, tenths of seconds separating the top guys, and it's really something that we should be shouting from the highest rooftops.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you look at last year, look how close the top boys were. Like, I've spoken to previous winners, and they were saying that, the competition wasn't as close when they were doing it, and they said it's like a knife edge at the moment, And then when you see the category, or the people that are coming in and already stating they're going to Galway, like, Matt Edwards, Keith Cronin, just to name a few. I've got Frank Kelly coming in for the modified, which is a big coup because Frank hasn't done Galway for a good few years.
Forever. I don't think he's ever done Galway before, actually.
I'm not sure about the international. I know he's done Galway summer because I've been there with him myself a few times. But it's likes of that, and it's great to see the locals coming in to have a go and show us what they can do in our own shores.
For sure, for sure. Because like Matt Edwards is like 3 times British champion, and he's often said that he wants to come over here and see, because he obviously feels that this is a really good championship that will push him and help him to develop as a driver. And then Keith Cronin, we don't have to say how successful Keith has been, an absolute phenomenal driver, and that he wants to come back and keep his game sharp. It just speaks volumes for Irish rallying.
I think so. I think it's great to see them coming back, and as you say, with Matt coming from the BRC, Keith, championing the BRC for many times and coming back to do this, it's great to see them coming back. And I suppose with the Citroen C3 trophy coming on board as well, that may entice a few more to partake. So we will take everybody, and we look forward to being there to assist them in good stages, good crack, family related, effectively.
Yeah, and you talk about good stages, like you just every event you think of West Cork, you think of Ring, you just all the iconic stages you can think of. Like the Tarmac Championship has all that and more. It
has, and like no matter what part of the country you go to, you always have got those iconic stages in the Tarmac Championship. Which has been, as you said, like you've been talking about, say Rally Lakes, you've got Moll's Gap, you've got the amount of stages above in Donegal. I mean, we all love those ones. You've had a tough rally when you do Donegal, and I know that as well from experience. But Galway has some great stages as well to start off. And I suppose the one thing I would say about Galway from personally doing them is that I feel that once you've done Galway, you're prepared for every other stage in Ireland for the rest of the year.
Because there's such a variety. You have the fast, quick stuff. You have the tight, sort of guttery stuff. Every Galway always seems to provide a bit of everything.
It does, and you know yourself from being out there as well that you can get every element under the sun in Galway over the weekend.
Yeah.
Be rain, hail, snow, sleet, ice. I've had them all in one rally myself, so that's why I say you're well prepared with Galway. So.
And the Circuit Ireland this year, I believe, is going to be back to a 2-day rally as well too, which is great to see as well.
No, the Circuit of Ireland is 1 day this year.
It's 1 day. Oh, yeah, it's just the way it looks as if in the calendar it looks.
Yeah, no, we've got 2 3-day events, which are West Cork and Donegal. We've got 2 2-day events, which is Galway and Rally of the Lakes, and then we've got 3 1-days, which is Circuit of Ireland, Ulster, and the Cork 20 this year. So. Hopefully next year we might go back to our 2-day events and things like that.
Yeah, because even noticed even last year with the circuit, it added a new dynamic to it. The 1 day, like a sprint, with the likes of Donegal and to a certain extent West Cork and Killarney. Sometimes it's a wee bit more about pacing yourself and making sure you're going to be there at the end. But when it's 1 day, there's no margin for error at all.
Exactly. Like if you get out of the blocks slowly, you're struggling for the rest of the day. Yeah. Whereas at least with a 2-day, you've got some chance, So, but look, that's not saying anything against the 1-day events either. I mean, it's great that the clubs are running the events, and that's what we need. And we need the people to keep going to the very last round, to help the clubs out, because we do need the entries everywhere. We need to make sure that they come to make sure that the clubs keep above water and keep going.
Yeah, and something there you mentioned as well too, is the C3 Cup. Like Racing Rally is really getting behind this with the C3 Cup is going to be phenomenal for the overall. And then in we couldn't say junior category, but like the Rally 4 category, the 208 and the Opel Adam. This, I think it's going to be a real game changer too, because we're old enough to remember the 205 challenge and the kind of cups that brought along Colin McRae, Richard Burns, Mark Higgins. All these guys come out of these 1-make challenges, and this could be the start of something really special.
Yeah, and it's nice to see something like that coming back again. Like it's been missing for a while. you know. So it's great to see it coming back and to have R&R Racing and Citroen behind the whole lot. It's a great coup for us
Yeah.
as well in the Tarmac Championship. So it's you know, I must send out you know, a big thank you to them for coming to us to do it as well, because you know we're looking forward to working with them.
Yeah, because I think too often our guys had to go across the water to get, to get noticed, but
Yes.
suddenly the guys from across the water will be coming here to get noticed, which is brilliant.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely, you know, and I suppose look, when we're talking about the WRC maybe next year or whatever coming to Ireland, you know, these are the stages that they will probably be coming to do a bit of testing and stuff like that. So, you know, hopefully we'll be looking forward to the big teams coming, and we will be speaking to them as well, you know, to encourage them to come to us, you know. So we've
Yeah,
had them before, we'll have them again, hopefully.
for sure, because like there is like such an air of positivity around Irish rallying. We think of the WRC, we think of the close rallying on the stages. We are in a golden era. Like we probably don't appreciate just how good it is. We're going to look back in 10, 15 years time and go, them were the days.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I suppose, again, if you think of ourselves there, going back a couple of years ago when the WRCs were declining in numbers, you know, and then the decision was taken by the rally championship, the tarmac championship, to, you know, make a class of their own, but bring in the R5s. Now, the rally championship did get a bit of slating from a lot of people at that time, but it just shows, you know, it was the right decision at the time, even though some people may not have, you know, thought that at the time. But you know, look at the amount of R5s we've got in the country at the minute. You know,
There's
it's
chat of
phenomenal.
like upwards to 30 of them starting Galway, like which is
Yeah.
phenomenal. And even the very first Fiestas, right up to the current Fiesta coming out brand new now,
Yes.
in the right hands, they're both, maybe the very first Fiesta, maybe not the ultimate pace, but you'll not be far away.
And that's so true. I know that I think Matt has got the R5, and well, he had an R5 at the launch the last day, and Keith Cronin R5. So you know, or sorry, the Fiesta. So that's going to, you know, they're all coming back. They're all fairly close, and again, it'll be up to the drivers, I suppose, on the day. You know,
Yeah, we
conditions
often
and conditions.
yes, exactly. Yeah, it's the one nut behind the seat that makes all the difference, isn't
Absolutely. You know.
it?
So, but
Yeah,
yeah.
and I suppose like again we keep banging on about it that what the MI Rally Academy's done for Irish rallying, and like some of those guys have had to go across to to do the BRC, or they've gone on to do events in Europe. Like we're hoping now to encourage some of them to stay because of this new Stellantis Cup. Like
Yes.
they were going over to compete in the BRC to compare themselves, but now the BRC guys will hopefully be coming here to do the 4 rounds in the tarmac here, and like, geez, if we can get some kind of home advantage, wouldn't that be great for our young talent?
That would be brilliant because, like, I mean, like they're excellent platforms for them to start off, you know, and for the sport. And so ideal place for them to compete, of course, is some of our most iconic stages in the country, and that's what we have to offer in the ITRC rounds. You know, so as you say, it'd be great if they would stay here and you know, do a few more of them with us.
Yeah, and like we like RPM when we were growing up was phenomenal. Every Thursday night you were tuned in, but the world's changed. Everybody looks for things instantly, or if not instantly, as quick as possible. Like rallying has probably been a wee bit slow on the social media uptake. But when you see the likes of Jason McConnell there, who can upload a post and get maybe a million views on it,
Yeah.
like, social media is something that rallying probably needs to embrace more.
Totally. And on that, we are in discussion with a couple of providers, but it's very hard to get it, you know, to the point where we want to get it because the costs involved, what the clubs have to pay, etc., etc. So we are still in discussion, even though we're fairly close to hopefully doing the deal before Galway. So I can't elaborate any more than that, but you're totally right. What we're trying to do is look at, you know, social media and some clips and, you know, maybe TV down the line, you know, that kind of way. If the clubs want TV, you know, that's up to them. But we want to try and get a set kind of, how can I say that each club will do A, B, and C,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what we want the providers to do. And if they want to do extras, that's extra for the club to do and things like that, you know. But again, it's up to the directors and the clubs of the ITRC to decide exactly what coverage they want. So other than that, we are closer, but it's taking a while, you know. And I totally agree with you. We do need the social media, you know.
Yeah, because like it's a whole, and I don't fully understand it. I don't claim to understand it, But that's what the young people want, and we need young people in the sport as well.
We do. Look, we need to encourage the youngsters to come back in. We need to get them involved in it. But, where do we start? How do we get them? We need to get them into a club level as well. We need to entice them to come in. And as you say, social media, I mean, they're on everything. They're on, iPhones, laptops, you name it. They will be checking it and looking at it. And that's where we need to work with the youngsters and get them into the J1000s, get them into the juniors, get them in, try and encourage them to get there with us. Because at the moment, when you look at it, it's kind of a son of a father who's competing. There are hundreds of more out there who'd love to do it. And they're the ones that we need to start looking at as well.
And because I know from going to events, it's the same marshals you see everywhere. A lot of the times it's the same group guys, or guys and girls that's organising the events, and maybe not the nicest way of putting it, but the age profile is getting older and older. We need young people to come into the sport at all levels to keep our sport alive.
Absolutely, and I totally agree with you about the marshal. I mean, I go marshalling myself, and I know like that when I went, I think it was the Fastnet rally there a couple of months ago. At the meeting point, I'd say the average age was closer to 60. That kind of and that's not derogatory. It's great that everybody comes out at those ungodly hours when we have to go out there and do the rolls. But again, we need to encourage it. But I know MI are bringing in that you can have a junior marshal now, I think from 16, which is, a step forward.
Yeah.
Now they won't be left on their own from what I'm hearing. They have to go with a seasoned marshal, but that's where we all begin.
Yeah.
So, if anybody has anybody that they know is of interest to come along, please come along, join the club. We will show them everything that we can.
And I suppose now starting to wrap up, what is your hope ahead of this year? Is it to get more people registered for the championship and coming and competing in the championship and seeing it out?
Well, first of all, I'd like to see as many as I can to register. And of course, I'd love to see them going all the way and, budget to do all our rounds. As I said to you, we've got 3 one-day events this year, so that should assist in budgeting a little bit. I know we've got 3-day events and things like that, but we've got quality stages, we've got quality people out there and everything like that. And, I'm looking forward to working with the competitors. And if any competitor has any query or question, which there has been numerous amounts that have called me, rang me, etc. about things, I will do my utmost to get an answer. I will reply immediately or, as quickly as I can. And I will do what I can to encourage them to stay with us.
Yeah, Sean. So all I can say is, there's so much positivity with round rallying, and I really hope that this season is all you hope for. And, we deserve the best in this island because, there is that rallying is such a good place.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, we could be out every weekend rallying if we wished. That's basically, between forestry, national and the tarmac championship. So, it's a great island. There's plenty of cars out there. There's plenty of brilliant drivers, navigators, etc. like that. So I'm looking forward to the year, I'll be honest with you. So I'm hoping, it will be positive all the way through.
So thanks there to Sean. So Connor, it's going to be a fascinating year once again in the tarmac championship, isn't it?
It is. It's great. It's great that there's new initiatives, and everybody needs that bit of PR. The championship needs the PR. The individual rallies need the PR, and the competitors need the PR. So it'll be great if there is a few new things happening there to promote it.
That's for sure. And we know the figures are great every week, but please continue to like, share, rate, subscribe. All those things makes a huge difference. To the way the podcast performs. Keep doing what you're doing. It's gratefully appreciated. And if you can like and subscribe, that makes a huge difference. So please, if you get the opportunity, please do that there. So until the next time, take care and speak soon, and bye.